Mr. Shins here, doing some VNs tonight, and I'm not quite myself yet. Hopefully that will not compromise the reading. I guess we'll find out. So let's get some shared beauty music. It's pretty cool. Okay, so I have been a little bit absent. I've been sick about a week. But this is Shared Beauty. This is one of the Spooktober 2023 VN Jam games. And the developer very kindly gave me permission to stream it. And I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you. I have not played this game, so this is kind of a cold read. So hopefully whatever comes my way, I will be able to manage it with my voice such as it is. But I just couldn't wait any longer, and I was feeling well enough today that I thought, yeah, I can do this. We can get it going. So, without further ado, this is Shared Beauty. So let's go ahead and start. Soft, hazy sunshine envelops the village you grew up in. Oh, second person. That's interesting. You can make out dewdrops on the grass, glittering around you as you sit outside with your little sister. Algis? Algis. This is a Germans? Are we in a German village? I believe that's Algis. Or Augis. I would say Augis. I think that's not totally familiar, but hopefully that's right. It's a misty early morning. Augis blows into her hands, trying to warm them up before she rejoins you in tending to the bucket of laundry. Isgard, my hands hurt. Oh, poor Augis. I know, the water's cold, but we can't always boil it. We need to save the wood, understand? She pouts, but mumbles a yes and continues. Your eyes wander until you see another seam about to snap on her clothes. It's only been a few weeks since you and your mother have mended them last. You bite your lip and look away. You wish you could provide more for Augis, but the last harvest wasn't good, only making the village and your family poor. Important people only come around every once in a while to collect taxes. Otherwise, you and your people are on your own. Even the witch has left this place. You hear footsteps and look up. It's Miltraud. You often hang out with each other. Guys, have you heard? A noble is coming. He sent his harbinger ahead to arrange his lodgings. What? To our village? But we're so far out. He's passing through. I hope he buys some of our wares. Millie, you have to be realistic, especially with nobles. They're not really the sharing type, are they? Oh, come on, you and your pessimism. It's not like we have anything else to look forward to. And they at least have to stock up on food and water. That's true. I just wish people like him would care more about us. As you try to warm your hands, you hear chatter and laughter growing louder. It's Faralda and her friends. Even after all these years of knowing her, you are still in awe of her beauty. Once they're out of earshot, Mildred sighs. I'm so jealous of her. Must be nice having those good looks. Oh, Mildred, it's okay. I'm sure you look fine. But I do have an admirer of my own, you know. Before you could ask her to tell you more, another woman traipses across the grass to join you. It's, oh Lord, Sieglind? It's Sieglind, looking as confident and reliable as always. Admiring Faralda again. She may have a pretty face, but don't you think she's a little slow on the uptake? Sieglind grins and Miltraud politely laughs. Oh, do I engage in this behavior too? This is no, Sieglin. This is inappropriate behavior. What? No, I don't know. I don't know anything about her history with Feralda, but unacceptable. We'll just not say anything right now. You avoid Sieglin's eyes. Don't you agree too, Isgard? You just shrug your shoulders. She gave me a cookie yesterday. I don't like what you're saying. The other two apologize half-heartedly. Well, at least she got an apology out of him. Trying to salvage the mood, Mildred claps her hands. So about the noble, do you guys have anything you want to sell to him? I'm not sure. I don't think he needs a woven basket from us. We also don't have the sorts of things that a noble might like. I think your carved wooden figures look awesome, Isgard. Aw, thanks, Augis. Thank you, Augis. Oh, hey, me and Isgard were on the same page, apparently. You pet her head and smile. She beams back at you. By the way, I also heard that the noble is still single. Sieglin snorts. Oh, come on. You looking to try climbing into his bed? You smack Sieglin's leg. Augis is still here. Sieglin shrugs and rolls her eyes. You look back down at Augis. How about you leave the washing to me and go help out Mother in the house? Okay. She closes the door behind her and you sigh. Well, Sieglin, now you're free to be your vulgar self. She snickers and slowly looks over Mildred from head to toe. And she's taking her time. Oh, I need to push the button. Okay. Mildred frowns and starts to cover herself with her arms. Oh, that's uncomfortable. Well, I guess you could try for a night and see if his conscience would make him stay with you. Ouch. Mildred slaps Sieglin's back 3 times. You are disgusting. Ever since you got married, you've been so bold about these topics. She finishes the last sentence with another slap. Sieglin just laughs and takes the blows in stride. Anyway, what I originally wanted to say is, she bends down a little and starts to whisper, what about showing off Feralda to him? What? Wait, what? Mildred wants to show off Feralda to the noble? When here I thought Sieglin was the bad influence here. Okay. Sieglin and you look at each other and then slowly turn to Mildred. You mean as his potential wife? Look, we need to do something so our village can survive. Feralda's not yet married. She's our best bet to get someone wealthier interested in our village. I heard the nobles really care about treating their in-laws right. Helping out a village of commoners would be nothing to them. You all stay silent for a few seconds. Then Sieglin furrows her brows and starts to scratch her chin. Do you guys remember the witch? Yes, of course. She's been gone for a while, hasn't she? Yeah. I'm actually glad. You never know when a priest will finally want to come visit us. Anyway, every time I went to buy medicine from her, it felt like her face had changed. In what way? Sometimes she had more wrinkles, sometimes she had less. She seemed more youthful before she left, actually, and her eyes seemed even prettier. I'm guessing she might have had a spell to become more beautiful. Why don't we try it for ourselves, then? Mildred, you're desperate. Look at the foundations we have. You think we could beat someone like Feralda just by making your base look nicer? Mildred looks clearly hurt, but doesn't say anything back. Your cheeks burn as your fingers curl around the fabric of your skirt. Well, there's also something else to consider. There might be some risks to that spell, but one little setback for Feralda wouldn't hurt much, right? You look at Sieglind with confusion. Don't think too hard about it. I'm just saying it's worth a try. Who are my friends here, man? I guess. Look, if you really want to make sure Faralda gets picked, then we should use magic to help. We could look in the witch's old cabin and find something that works. But we're not witches. What if the spell really does go wrong? Sieglind shrugs her shoulders. People like Faralda can take that. She doesn't even wait for a reply before she just changes the topic. Mildred adjusts to Sieglind's whims as always. You look back towards the door of your home. Oh. Ingthing, hey, welcome to the chat. Medieval fantasy German mean girls. That's what I'm getting. Yes, this is what it seems like. I was like, am I going to start trying to make fetch happen? Like, definitely. Nice to have you here, Ingthing. You look back towards the door of your home. You think about Alogis's clothes, about the fear you all feel whenever someone gets sick. How many times have you prayed for things to get better? Then you remember Faralda's smile. She smiles so often, even living here. She must get so many compliments every day. So many men stare at her when she walks by, leaving you unnoticed. You knead your skirt with your fists. Yeah, Faralda can take the risks. She has it better than a lot of you. She could try and help out for once. Hello. I try not to think about how a commoner might be treated when marrying into a noble family, or how the noble themselves might treat their spouse. It'd be a good deal for her, right? She'd like that idea too, right? But what exactly do you know about her? You are not that close. Not anymore. With mixed feelings, you go to bed early that day. The next day, someone is knocking on your door. It's Faralda. Faralda, hello. It's been a while since you've spoken to each other one-on-one. Hi, sorry. Are you all right? What's going on? It's Ermina. She's been coughing so much and it just won't get better. And today she even started having a fever. She only has her father left. Do you have any medicine for this? You shake your head. Faralda covers her face with her hands. As somebody who has had little kids that are sick recently, this bit is hitting me a little hard. Oh no. I already asked everyone else on the way here and they all said the same. It's all so frustrating. We have no priest here and even the witch has left us. What are we supposed to do? You pat her back and bring her a cup of water to calm her. This actually might be the perfect moment. Actually, do you want to go to the witch's cabin with me? Faralda looks at you in confusion. But she's not there anymore. Suddenly you're getting cold feet. How are you going to convince her to undergo a spell you've never tried before? You don't know if it even exists. You've just opened your mouth to take back your words when Sieglind appears in the doorway. Excuse me, do you have some milk? My little boy got sick and I want to make some milk tea for... She pauses, staring at Faralda for a moment. Then she looks to you. I didn't know that Faralda liked to visit you. Sieglind, do you have medicine for coughing and fevers? Not anymore, sweetie. Was that what you were talking about? Sieglind's sharp gaze on you makes you feel small and anxious. For some reason, Isgard asked me if I wanted to go to the witch's cabin. Sieglind's eyes widen for a moment. You notice that she's trying to suppress the grin that is forming on her lips. Uh-oh. Well, maybe we can find some medicine there. We can only hope the witch left something behind. A beautiful smile finally returns to Feralda's face as she turns back to you. Oh, that's why you asked. She takes your hands in hers. Guilt stabs you in your chest as you see her warm and genuine smile. Let's go, Isgard. This reminds you of her younger self. She used to pull you along, just like she is now, to play outside. You were both so carefree back then. How does Feralda feel about that time after all these years? Is she sad you distanced yourself from her? Does she know it was because you're jealous of her? Well, I want to know now that I know that this is happening. Kids are going to be sick, right? Let's take a moment. Do you remember playing together? Feralda stops for a moment and thinks. I thought you were the one who forgot. Being a child and playing all day was fun. You remember making flower rings and garlands? You smile and nod. Sieglund snorts. Yeah, you can reminisce later. We need that medicine now. All right. Feralda lets go of your hands, bringing you back to the present. And walks ahead of you. Sieglund comes closer and whispers into your ear. You probably thought of the spell before the medicine, right? Not that I blame you. We can try and convince her there. Let's get Miltraud too. You look at the ground and follow Sieglund. Ooh, I don't like where this is going. Mean girls indeed. On your way, you knock on Miltraud's door to convince her to join you. It's very easily done. You don't even need to say much after she sees Feralda. Unaware of the question the three of you would soon ask her, Feralda walks with light feet into the forest. Backgrounds in this are very pleasant. A stick snaps under your shoes as you wander along a pathway between the trees. Almost no sunlight filters through. The canopy is too dense, typical of the region you live in. Foggy days make it even harder to find your way. Thankfully, it's clear today. That's clear? It's clear for Germans, right? After a bend in the path, you catch sight of the witch's cabin. Half hidden between branches and bushes, the eerie wooden house looms over you. None of the villagers, even the older ones, can remember when the witch first appeared. She was just there one day, along with her cabin. No one really trusted her, but no doctor from the city visited the village, and her medicine was certainly useful in their absence. The village grew to begrudgingly accept her in time. But then she disappeared without a word, leaving this cabin to be claimed by the forest. The old wooden door squeaks as you open it. The house's interior is unchanged, despite the witch having been gone for months. There is no dust to be seen. That's very strange. By all accounts, it looks like someone just left for a walk. Seeing this unnerves you a little, but you force yourself to step further inside. The four of you carefully look through shelves and chests for clues. You decide to gather all the glass vials and bottles. Any idea what all these do? Not really. Maybe one of the books can tell us more? You guys can read? My uncle used to teach me before he left the village to become a priest. Does he ever send you money? What a question, Sieglund. Man. Excuse me. I'm caught off guard. I'm going to take a little sip here. Sieglund. Really? What a question. Priests must have it a little better than us, no? My father doesn't seem to be getting along with him anymore. That's sad. What a pity. Anyway, I guess we'll gather some books then. A lot of the books you find are written in various languages you can't read. Nonetheless, you admire the craftsmanship behind each book, running your fingers over the pages. Then, Feralda finds one you can read. What does it say, Isgard? Charms and spells for the late Valpurga. You all gather closer around the table on which the book lays. With utmost curiosity, you start to flick through its contents. The first page has a dedication to Valpurga. Your enemies are no more. In the pages beyond, there are spells to find lost objects, give others nightmares, or make them fall in love. After much searching, you finally find it, the spell of youth and beauty. It instructs you to kill a dove and use its blood to purify a small shrine. The receiver of the spell should put their right hand on the shrine. The others should cut their thumbs and put their wounds to the receiver's lips so they can drink their blood. Afterwards, the wounded participants should hold hands in a circle around the receiver and chant together. Oh, this is German. I'll do my best here. Geben Jugend offer Sobskini, Einschein wie das in allen Landen nicht schoners mit im Mottersinn. Ein schonen wie das allen Landen nicht schoners in Mottersinn. Close enough. Now the question remains of how you convince Feralda to take part in this. And so I haven't actually found a list of all the potions she's made, but you take a deep breath and look to Feralda. I actually had another reason to invite you to the cabin. Feralda looks confused. Feralda, you, like all of us, suffer from the lack of resources we have in the village. You have a kind heart. Oh, you have a kind heart, so it hurts you even more that we can't get medicine for people like your poor sick friend Ermina. But you are beautiful, Feralda. You always have been. You might have a chance with the noble who's coming soon. And with the noble's favor, you can make life better for Ermina and everyone. Feralda only looks down and sighs. I'm not sure. In the end, I'm also just a peasant. But what does that have to do with this cabin? Be proactive and explain. Or we can let the others explain. I don't want any part of this. I'll let the others explain. But I'm a part of it. I'm here. I am a part of it, whether I want to be or not. I've already made all the decisions to get here. So I might as well explain it to her. Sieglin said that just before the witch left, she suddenly looked younger and more beautiful. But she didn't completely change. It was just like she had improved on what was already there. We wanted to come here to see if she had left anything behind, a potion or a spell, which she'd used to beautify herself. And I think we've just found it in this book. Sieglin looks satisfied. Sieglin then puts her arm around Feralda's shoulders. If the witch uses this spell herself, it must be safe for us, for you, to try. With her magic and your beauty, any noble would surely fall for you. But please, Feralda, our hopes rest on you. As his wife, you could ask anything of him for food, clothes, medicine, all that we've gone without for so long and more. Maybe even a priest. You would help everyone. Feralda takes a deep breath and then looks at you with conviction. All right. I'd rather do something than nothing. Way to go, Feralda. Way to be brave. You avoid meeting her intense gaze. Now, tell us what we have to do, Isgard. You repeat what you've read to them. I appreciate not having to try the German again. Whew, okay. A dove? We'd have to go back to the village and see if anyone has caught one. Feralda looks around the cluttered cabin, then disappears into another room without another word. Much to everyone's surprise, she comes back with a dead dove. It seems the witch liked to keep stocked with the ingredients she needed for her spells. It's curious that the dove doesn't show any signs of rotting. I don't like this, guys. I don't like where this is going. Is there still magic in this cabin? Keeping the witch's ingredients fresh? Or the witch is here. I mean, that's an option. I hope it doesn't have to be freshly killed. After taking a small knife from the table, you prepare the shrine, and the three of you position yourselves around Feralda. You flinch when you have to cut yourself and put your thumb on her lips. It's clear she's uncomfortable, but she bravely continues and takes a sip. After she takes in a drop of blood from each of you, you start to chant. The room shakes slightly. A breeze plays with Feralda's hair, and for a second you think you see flower patterns glowing in her eyes. Whispers fly past your ears, and then complete silence. You wait for a few more seconds before you feel safe enough to move. Did it work? Well, something just responded. Feralda looks at her hands and then stands up. Do I look any different? Not sure. Maybe it takes time to show? Sieglind looks frustrated and turns away from Feralda. I hope that is the case. With a slight feeling of hope, you start to look through more books to identify the potions. 2 are meant to treat coughs, at least. Sieglind and Feralda take one each before you return home. Riddled with anxiety, you take a long time to fall asleep. For the next few days, you, Sieglind, and Miltrud observe Feralda in minute detail. Her hair has become much more vibrant. Her skin has lost any trace of dryness or the small scars she's gained from all the work she does. The men turn around even more when Feralda walks past them. Soon the 4 of you gather together in a corner of the village where almost no one goes to talk about the plan. We were successful, Feralda. I think so too. So, okay, what do you even talk about with a noble? I'm going to teach you some interesting topics, don't worry. When is he arriving again, Miltroud? In 3 days, I think. That means we can try and befriend the maids working for him in advance. Sieglind puts her hands on her hips. I say we prepare some good food to win them over. Sounds like a plan. You say your goodbyes and return home. A few days later, the whole village watches as the noble and his entourage arrive. He steps down from his strong white horse to survey his surroundings. The village elders immediately surround him. The Honorable Odin, your grace was with your presence. Odin puts his hand, I'm going to say Odin, puts his hand up to stop the elders from speaking. He sighs. We can skip the formalities. Where is my harbinger? The harbinger steps forward and bows. I am here. Is there any hope for some fitting lodgings? His vassal shakes his head. So it's another night in the tent. Elder, do you have a large field we can use? The elders look at each other. Sieglind steps forward before they can reply. There's a lot of space next to our house, Honorable Odin. The noble fixes her with an icy and indifferent stare. She immediately bows her head. I did not give you permission to speak, but I suppose it's no matter. I am in a permissive mood today. Men, prepare the tents and follow the woman to the site. His entourage follows Sieglind as she begins to make her way to the field. She steals glances at you, urging you to join in, so you, Miltrud, and Feralda walk alongside her. You all start to whisper. Sieglinde, are you out of your mind? You know how easily a noble can punish us. Inkthing says, oh, somebody got auto-modded. Sorry. He's such a prick when he first appears. Yes, he is. He's a complete asshole. Sieglinde, are you out of your mind? You know how easily a noble can punish us. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, my dear. We are trying to get him to marry a peasant. You reach the field, and Odin's men immediately start building the tents and sleeping places for themselves. A carriage brings up the rear with rich furnishings to be placed inside Odin's tent. The men look well trained and carry leather, armor, bows, and swords. It makes you feel anxious to see so many men armed. It makes you feel anxious to see so many armed men in your village. They'll be busy for a while, so let's come back later after they're done. A few hours later. Do you think my current appearance is enough? You had all put your best skills to use to dress up Faralda. She would definitely outshine everyone in a normal village festival, but the noble's taste is unknown to you. Faralda, it's gonna be okay. Trust our judgment. You take a deep breath and approach the maids nearby. Can we help you with anything? The maids look up in surprise. Oh, we would be very happy about that. As you can imagine, we need plenty of water and food. You look at your friends with a smile. We had heard from the harbinger when you would arrive and prepared some things beforehand. The maids are immediately in a merry mood. Well done, us. At least we made the maids happy. A lot of bread, water, and diluted wine is brought by the other villagers and wheeled into the encampment. You look bitterly at the bounty of food. You know that your village will only be eating one meal a day for the next week, just so you can supply the noble and his entourage. The more elaborate dishes are brought to a table in front of a big tent. You are told the noble's taste tester is there. Is that the one who has to test the food for poison? Even out here? Sieglinde shrugs. I guess you never know where your enemies hide when you gain power. Sieglinde looks at you and Faralda. I think Faralda would be too nervous to speak if she went alone. Isgard, ask if you're allowed to bring one of our pies to him. You slowly nod in response. Your head starts to beat very your heart, not your head, that'd be weird. Your heart starts to beat very loudly. You pray that the noble is still in a good mood. Hesitantly stepping forward, you approach the table with Faralda in tow. The taste tester looks at you with utter annoyance. What do you want? We would like to bring one of our best pies to the Honorable Odin, especially our dear Faralda. She admires him. Faralda nervously fiddles with her hands. The taste tester scans her from head to toe. I see. Well, I guess having something to look at should be all right by him. He calls for one of the men, a knight who looks to be in charge of the others. Good day to you both. I am the captain here in service of the Honorable Odin. If you want to get closer to him, you'll have to go under inspection. If you are not willing, I suggest you leave. You nudge Faralda. She now looks at the captain, whose eyes widen slightly as they assess her. We are quite all right with it, thank you. Yes. I think his lordship would be pleased as well. He searches both of you, and as uncomfortable as it is, his hand never stays in one place too long. You and Faralda exchange a glance, and she relaxes slightly. I am done. Wait a moment, and I will ask if he wishes for this pie and your company. He disappears in the noble's tent and soon returns. He is fine with this. Taste tester, if you will. The taste tester slowly sits down, sighs heavily, and takes a bite. Poor taste tester has to taste everything. It's quite delicious. Neither of them move. You can't help but stiffen in place. Anything strange? No, they're clear. With that, you are guided to Odin's tent. Excuse me, I'm going to take another sip. Pardon my drinking sounds. Odon sits comfortably on his bed. He doesn't turn his head or try to meet your eyes. You can leave the pie on the table. You set the pie down while you give Faralda a soft nudge, urging her to step forward. She waits silently in front of him. After what feels like an eternity, Odon finally deigns to look at her, briefly in annoyance before shock overtakes him. The noble is entranced within moments. I mean, look at her, how it wouldn't be. What is your name? Faralda. How old? 22. He slowly rises from his bed, circles around her, and then sits at the table in front of her. Guy's making me nervous. Would it be all right, Faralda, if you grant me your company while I eat? Yeah, I don't want to leave Faralda alone. That would be poor behavior, right? If I leave, that's kind of more to the plan. But we want them married, not assaulted. So let's go with this. You don't even dare to look in Odon's direction. You know his asking only for Faralda's company was a sign to leave, and you don't want to risk a noble's anger. But still, you feel like you need to ask at least. You gather your courage. Faralda, will you be all right to stay here alone? Faralda smiles and squeezes your hand. Yes, thank you for asking, Isgard. Satisfied, you quietly leave the tent. You wait anxiously for hours in your home with Miltraud and Sieglinde discussing the day's events. Finally, as the daylight begins to fade, Faralda returns. She looks happy and sports a slight blush on her cheeks. Well, well, well. Looks like we have half a pair of lovebirds here. Faralda sputters and shyly looks away. Miltraud cautiously clears her throat. He wasn't rough with you, I hope. No, he was really quite patient and kind. He explained why he's traveling through here and that's how my life is in the village. He smiled a lot while we were talking. Sieglinde laughs loudly and slaps Faralda's back. I knew you could do it. Look how you tamed that big old noble with that cute face of yours. You all sigh with relief. It's all right to continue like this. Faralda is going to be all right. You are going to be all right. Everything will be all right. You wake up early the next morning. With a yawn, you stretch your arms and push the hair out of your face. But then you feel something thin stuck between your fingers. Your eyes slowly wander towards your hand. Your skin feels thinner and drier than usual. And on your palm are several strands of loose hair. You immediately stand up, stumbling towards a bucket full of water to check your reflection. Your face looks fine, and so does your hair. At least, at first. Augie stirs and rubs her eyes. You open your mouth, then close it again. You can't bring yourself to admit what is happening to you. Instead, you shake your head and tell Augie to go back to sleep. She blinks, yawns, and lays back down. With everyone asleep once more, you sneak your way outside and throw away the strands of hair. As someone who has experienced hair loss, it's not a fun feeling, probably especially abruptly like this. Why would you be losing hair? No one in your family has lost their hair this early in life. Just then, an old woman walks by. It's Ianhild, one of the few elders who are still alive in the village, and a very dear person to you, Jonhild. Oh my, why are you already awake, my dear? A child like you needs sleep. You smile and greet her. I'm already 22, Jonhild. You will always be a child to me, my dear. Did you have a nightmare? You start to nervously knead your hands. Something like that. Actually, Jonhild, is it possible to lose hair at my age? Jonhild tilts her head, inspecting you closely. That's very unusual, my dear. Maybe you are stressed? Has something difficult been troubling you? Well, yes. Maybe how you feel about your acts towards Feralda? You hesitate and shake your head. You feel ashamed just thinking of the possible dangers you've exposed Feralda to. No way would you be able to confess that to Jonhild. How about you join me in my knitting tomorrow? I was going to make some scarves for the coming winter. That sounds very nice. I'll be there. She softly pats your hand and smiles. Take care, Isgard. Oh, take care, Isgard. With newfound warmth in your heart, you return home and do your usual chores. The next day, when you arrive at Jonhild's home, you can already smell hot herb tea and pie she's prepared. You enjoy a sweet conversation with her while you eat. After you finish, Jonhild prepares the wool and needles. You take a seat. As you pick up your knitting needles and prepare for the first row of knits, your fingers start to hurt. You suck in a groan between your gritted teeth and shake off the wool. To ease the pain, you slowly open and close your hand. The joints hurt when you flex your fingers. Are you all right? I don't know what's happening, Jonhild. My hands hurt. I've barely started knitting. You swallow hard to hold back your tears. Oh, poor dear. If only we could visit the witch, or just had a village doctor. She gently hugs you and caresses your back. You choke back a sob. You are not alone, my dear. I am here with you, all right? You draw in deep breaths to calm down, and after a minute you break away to look at her. Her face is full of worry, and she takes your hands in hers. Isgard, to be specific, do your joints hurt? Yes. That only started well after I turned 50, my dear. You bite your lip. A tear rolls down your cheek. Jonhild sighs sadly and rubs your palms with her thumbs to soothe you. Drink tea often and try to take a walk outside every day. I know when we are scared, we want to hide away, but you have to be kind to your own body and keep it moving, especially now. Very good advice from Jonhild, I think. Can you do that for me? You nod. Good. But I also think it's all right if you take it easy for today and get some rest. Tell your mother that it was on my recommendation. You return home and tell your mother what Jonhild said. What? But tomorrow we're all going out to collect berries. Do you think you can at least carry a little? I'm sorry. She sighs. You can sleep today, at least. There's nothing pressing right now. You agree and head to your room to lay down. You've been sick before, but you've never feared what was happening to your body so much. What if tomorrow it hurts even more? You lay awake in bed with fear in your heart. The next day, you follow the other women of the village to collect berries in the forest. Your mother, true to her word, had given you a small basket. Soon you spot Miltraud and Sieglind and move to join them. Sieglind is looking much more tired than usual, and Miltraud's hair looks thinner. The last few days, were they also strange for you? I think my back is hurting more than usual, and my skin is so dry. In my case, it's my arms. They don't seem to be as strong anymore. I almost let my son fall. Sieglind covers her face with one free hand. You had never seen her so weak and afraid before, not even just after childbirth. My hair is slowly falling out, and my fingers hurt when I tried to knit. Jonhild said those things only happened to her when she was in her 50s. Sieglinde looks terrified. Wait. No. But we're aging faster, aren't we? No, we can't. I need to be strong. My son can't take care of himself yet. Sieglinde, not so loud. She forces herself to calm down. Thankfully, no one has noticed her outburst. Have you guys seen anyone else looking weak or sick? Maybe there's something in the water or the well. You shake your head. So does Sieglinde. So, only those of us who gave their blood to Faralda are getting worse? You all turn your heads to look at Faralda. She is full of energy as she forages with the others. Her hair, her skin, and her light movements all look bright and lively. You try to ignore the churning in your stomach when you look at her. You try to ignore the churning in her stomach when you look at her and push yourself to focus on the berries. Face it, Isgard. Don't try to look away. We don't know what it is. Faralda just did what we told her to. Yeah, and it all worked out well for her. Look at her. Young, pretty, healthy, with a kind noble as a future husband to boot. How about we look in the witch's cabin again? Maybe there's a way to undo the spell. But we did all that to make sure the noble falls in love with Faralda. What if we undo it and suddenly the noble has no interest? What about the village? We'll go to the cabin and decide after we read how to do it. Understood? Her fierce gaze makes you take a step back. You pause, but ultimately not in agreement. Man, who knows what Sieglinde is capable of? That same night, the three of you ransack the cabin until you finally find the book again. Just why wasn't it in the same spot as before? Before you can think about it, you try to concentrate on your more pressing issue. You leaf through the book, stopping once again at the page for the spell of youth and beauty. Brows furrowed, you carefully read it again, continuing to the next few pages. They contain notes of past experiments the witch made until the right words for the spell were found. And then, at the bottom of the last page, you find a paragraph on reversing the spell itself. Read it, hurry! I used a test group and made them give their youth and beauty to one of the other members. Observing them made it clear that the ones who gave their blood age faster. A verbal reversal spell was not enough to stop the process. The only method I've found so far is to kill the one who drinks the blood after the receiver's death. The others slowly recover. Maybe it's like damming a river, or testing will be needed. Man, of all the times that you needed, to really read the instructions, all of you freeze in silence. For what feels like an eternity, you can only hear the wind and animals outside. Miltraud starts to shake her head. But Faralda just did what we told her to, so we are aging a lot faster, and we don't even know how much time we have left. Sieglinde slams her hands on the table. I can't die so soon. What about my child? Who is going to take care of him? I want to see him grow up. I want to be there for my husband. I can't leave them behind. She takes a deep, shuddering breath. It's decided. As unfair as it is to Faralda, we need our lifespans back. And you will tell no one about this, understood? You were about to say something, but she grabs your wrist so hard it hurts. Try telling someone and see what you'll make me do, Isgard. Terrified, you mumble some sort of reply. Sieglinde lets go of your wrist, and you all step outside in silence. You return home with leaden feet and a heavy heart, and you shut the door, oh, as you shut the door, you could swear you heard a snicker in the wind. Ooh, intense. The next morning, you almost let the axe fall onto your feet while chopping wood. How are the elders doing their daily tasks with such weakened bodies? Sieglind visits you after breakfast. She brings you behind your own home, out of sight from both the villagers and the visitors. Isgard, meet me later in the forest by our usual spot. We need to discuss something. You can imagine what it is about. Inkthing says, got a jet, but I hope you're enjoying the game so far. Thanks for streaming. I really am enjoying this. This is awesome. Thank you, Inkthing, for hanging out. I appreciate you. Have a good night. You can imagine what it is about. All right, I will be there. Around dusk, you return to the forest to meet Sieglind again. This time, Miltroud is there as well, looking just as uncomfortable as you. Everyone's here, good. So, we need a plan. And no, we cannot leave Faralda alive. Is this the conviction of a mother? Or was this side of Sieglind always there? Was she always this ready to sacrifice others for her own survival? Isgard, any ideas? Well, it's kind of hard now because the noble cares about Faralda. Getting her to be alone with us might be harder now too. Miltroud, have anything to counter that? Maybe we can convince her if we say it's to make a surprise present for the Honorable Odon. Didn't you use to make flower garlands for Faralda when you were kids? You avoid Sieglind's eyes. It's such an innocent memory, unmarked by your later jealousy of Faralda, a time when you just enjoyed her company. And now, Sieglind wants to use that to lure Faralda to her death? Are you listening, Isgard? Yes. Then invite her to go flower picking. Tell her you want to make a flower garland for the Honorable Odon with her. You take your time replying, but you know Sieglind will only accept one answer. Still, you want to delay her plans if you can. But looking for flowers at night wouldn't make sense. Oh, right. Just get her to come into the deep woods then, near the cabin. We just need to push her face right into the earth so her screams won't be as loud. What a cold-hearted, matter-of-fact answer. Go now. Miltroud and I will prepare while you get her. You turn around and walk back to the village. Will you really go through with this? I mean, this seems like the obvious choice, right? We should not kill a person. It's pretty much against everything I stand for, believe in, and have been taught. However, I am going to die, and that sucks. And my two terrible friends are going to die. I kind of feel like we all deserve it, though. We do. We're going to save Faralda. Unless anybody has any objections. You know what I should do? I'm a fool. I haven't saved it all. Let's go ahead and save, and maybe we can turn back time after this. Faralda doesn't deserve this. You've always wanted the village to get better, even if it means you have to pay the price. You accept your new condition and begin to think. There's still time to stop the plan, but you have to be careful. You know Sieglind won't forgive you for this. But we're dying anyway, so whatever. You head to Faralda's home, but she isn't there. Her foraging basket and shears are gone, so she's likely in the forest gathering herbs. You find Faralda alone and wave her over to you. Oh, Isgard, what is it? I was just about to go home. I just had an idea for something that we could gift to his lordship as a surprise. Oh? Remember making flower garlands together? He would certainly be happy about getting one from you. You think so, but that was when we were younger. And girls only gave those to the boys they liked. Well, I would say you two are really close now, no? All the more reason to. Yes. What a sweet reaction. You watch her with conflicting feelings. You want to cheer her on, but you also feel jealous seeing her happiness. A kind, good-looking man, a rich one no less, giving her such attention and care. You know she is kind and think she deserves it, but it doesn't stop that lingering bitterness. And then there's this murky feeling of immense guilt that aches in your chest when you remember Sieglin's words. Listen, Feralda, there's something I need to confess. What? You pull Feralda closer to you and carefully look around. Pull some of my hair. Feralda does so, confusion written on her face. See how it comes away with your fingers? That's how easily they fall out now. What? Are you all right? Feralda, there are other things happening. It's not just me. Sieglind, Miltrode, and I all have noticed our bodies changing. We're aging faster. But how? We went back to the cabin and read more of the book. Apparently what the spell does is it gives you our youth and beauty. Feralda reels back terrified and rapidly shakes her head. No! No, I would have never agreed to this if I knew. We've got to do something. I know. But Feralda, to reverse the effects, we would have to kill you. It said it was the only way, and I'm here to warn you because Sieglind and Miltrode are planning to try that way. But what shall we do? We need to find his lordship immediately. As a noble, he can give out judgment to us. That would mean, yes, Miltrode and Sieglind would die, and maybe I would too. Feralda shakes her head and looks at you with determination. I can't imagine how much courage this took. I will convince Odin to spare you, since you've saved my life. The only problem is, I heard that today he is surveying the woods. I'm not sure why, but I think they're looking for bandits. You look in the direction where Sieglind and Miltrode are waiting for you. If you don't bring Feralda now, they're going to start looking for you. Excuse me while I take a drink. We need to be faster than them. We need his protection now. You and Feralda run. You hope that Sieglind and Miltrode wait long enough before they come looking for you. You look around and hope you can spot Odin's men. Should you scream to catch their attention, would they mistake you for a bandit? But what if Sieglind hears your scream? What? Just then, something sharp and hard hits you in the back of your head. As you fall down and scream, you see Feralda falling with you. We both hit well, Miltrode. Oh, Sieglind, far too clever by half. Just when you struggle to stand up, your face is pushed into the ground, dampening your scream and filling your mouth with dirt. You hear Feralda struggling next to you as well, but whatever struck you both in the head has weakened you too much to break free. A pounding pain ripples out from where Miltrode hits your skull again and again. Searing heat immediately envelops your whole head and distorts your face as you try to scream. You taste earth, grass, and blood from your wounds, bitter in your mouth. They kick and beat you, and after a while, they switch to smashing big rocks against your bodies. You slip between hazy consciousness, searing pain, and dull recognition. The crunches and smashes sound further and further away, until finally, there's only darkness. ending. Snitches. Snitches get stitches. Oh, bad end. Let's go ahead and reload. Go to history. Is that? No, not history. Load. Confirm. Yeah, we don't want to die. Okay, we're gonna kill Feralda. Not what I want to do. But what are our options? You are terrified to know how fast you're aging. You want to live. Accepting what that means, you take a deep breath and make up your mind. I've decided to become a murderer. Feralda has to go. You head to Feralda's home, but she isn't there. Her foraging basket and shears are gone, so she's likely in the forest gathering herbs. You find Feralda alone and wave her over to you. Oh, Eastgard, what is it? I was just about to go home. I just had an idea for something that we could gift to his lordship as a surprise. Oh? Excuse me. Remember making flower garlands together? He would certainly be happy about getting one from you. You think so, but that was when we were younger. And girls only gave those to the boys they liked. Well, I would say you two are really close now, no? All the more reason to. Yes. What a sweet reaction. You watch her with conflicting feelings. You want to cheer her on, but you also feel jealous seeing her happiness. A kind, good-looking man, a rich one no less, giving her such attention and care. You know she is kind and think she deserves it, but it doesn't stop that lingering bitterness. And then there's this murky feeling of immense guilt that aches in your chest when you remember Sieglin's words. Since you were done here anyway, want to head a little further into the forest for those flowers? Oh. Nayasobu, hey, thank you so much for playing our game. You can skip text you've already read by clicking the skip button below. You know what? Thank you. I think I will do that. And welcome to the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Oh. No. Skip button. Let's see. Maybe I need to do it. I see history, auto save. I don't see skip.
Control.
Oh, control.
Hold down control.
I'm using the controller. That's there it is. Now I see it. Okay, so we go. All right. Well, this is about where. Yeah, we grew up here, Feralda. It should be fine. She thinks for a while, then nods. Let's go then. With heavy feet, you guide Feralda further and further in to where Sieglind and Mildred are waiting. Oh, no, it's what it says, but yeah, you're probably there already. Read the text, it was the same. I think you can just continue. Thank you. Here we go. Okay, so they're waiting for us in the forest here. You keep going in a certain direction. Are there better flowers there? Yeah, I know a spot. Memories of you playing with her when you were children flash by. Her smile, her laugh, her face when you started to ignore her. How she still treated you with kindness. You swallow down the lump in your throat and keep walking. And then finally, you stand before Sieglind and Mildred. Oh, you guys are here too? Sieglind smiles. Yeah, we're also gathering flowers for his lordship. We heard of the plan from Eastgard. You didn't need to help. You've already done so much. The three of you step closer and closer to Feralda. Sieglind and Mildred are holding stones behind their backs. Guys? You all immediately strike Feralda. You push her face into the ground, dampening her screams. The terror in her voice sends chills through you. You all hit her again and again, then kick and beat her when she falls to the ground. While you and Miltroud continue, Sieglin smashes a big rock against her head. Feralda finally stops struggling. Now she lays still with a blank, empty stare. Blood slowly drips from her head and soaks the dirt around her. Miltroud, get the shovels. In silence, you clean up and bury her. Hours later. As Feralda's family waits in vain, Odon and his men search far and wide. At first it seems like they'll never turn up with anything. Days pass. But then, sending the three of you into a panic, Odon's hunting dogs find the body. You all do your best to react normally to the news. With the brutal state of the body, they seem to be looking for a man, with some guessing that it was a bandit's work. But since none of the villagers have seen her alone with a man other than Odon, and no bandits have been found, his search for suspects goes nowhere. They also can't determine when exactly she died. Did she get lost first and then murdered a few days later? Or was she killed on the same day she went missing? You listen for any signs that his investigation has made progress. None arrive. After a few days and no clues, they hold her funeral. The whimpers, sniffles, and weeping from the onlookers stab you like 1,000 needles. Your face darkens. Despite your mental scars, your body itself is doing much better. Your hair and joints grow stronger every day. It feels like your mind and body belong to two different people now. Feralda's coffin is raised on a stage for all to view her. It's surrounded by flowers the villagers are leaving for her when they pay respects. You couldn't bring yourself to leave an offering. Nearby, you spot Sieglin holding her child in her arms. She hugs and holds him much more now. Next to her, Miltroud watches the funeral with a blank face. She reaches down to smooth her skirts, and you notice her hands are shaking. Excuse me while I take another sip here. Your eyes wander to Odon. He looks like he has lost the world. Odon has paid for all the funeral arrangements, including bringing in a priest to bless the body. It's a lavish goodbye. After the people have gazed upon Feralda's peaceful face for the last time, she is moved from the viewing stage to be buried. As the priest gives his blessing, Feralda's ornate coffin is carefully lowered into the ground. The funeral ends, and only whispers can be heard as everyone slowly leaves. Excuse me. You will live on, but of beauty only memories remain. Lost love. Wow. So that's two endings that I've got. I think it's been just over an hour, so I'm gonna switch over to the next game. But yes, shared beauty. I didn't activate my Spooktober link. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Hold on one second while I get my act together. Let's see. We will enable Spooktober, and then... So if you have not done so already, I encourage you to give this game a try. Oh, did I do it wrong? There we go. And you can check out the link that Nightbot just threw up in the chat for the Spooktober VN Jam. Excuse me. I encourage you to download, play, and rate. Really important for these developers that the games get their ratings. So please go rate them for the jam and rate them on the page too. Here. So next we have The Widow's Shadow. And I'm going to update the title here. All right. So 1 second while I change things around. Okay. Here we go. So that was wonderful. Very intense. I feel like I just kind of got inside the mind of a killer a little bit more than maybe I ever have, which is hopefully not surprising. Okay, so pulling up The Widow's Shadow. Hopefully my voice lasts through all of this. Okay. There we go. There's the music. Hopefully it's not too loud. To hair. So, this mix is actually really high in my ears, so I'm going to see if I can turn it down in my headphones a little bit. There we go. And turn it up for you guys. Hopefully that's loud enough. Music in both of these games are great, so I definitely want to make sure that everybody can hear them. And Nayasobu says, intense indeed. Music seems fine to me. Oh, good. Thank you for the feedback there. So, if I cannot make it through this reading, my lovely partner has agreed to step in for me. So hopefully I do okay here, but I'm starting to feel the pain a little bit. So, fair warning. You are on standby, yeah. All right. So this game, I was told, is really inspired by old German expressionist films. Excuse me. Hold on 1 second. I think I need to get a drink. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Falling apart a little here. Now let's see. The Widow's Shadow. So yes, this I was told that this is inspired by a lot of German expressionist films, which made me very excited to want to play it. I have watched, I have watched a ton. I used to be really into German expressionism, so look out for that. For if you are a fan of those famous Cabinet of Dr. Caligari or Nosferatu or Metropolis and Fritz Lang films, look out for those things that are inspired by those films. Oh, and right off the bat, even the face. Death, in the end, it gets us all. It's an inevitability we're all aware of, yet we try hopelessly to ignore it. The war exposed us all to the fragility of life, leaving only carcasses of the people we once knew. Friends, family, lovers, gone forever. Even though the war ended a few years ago, its remnants are still felt. We tried to return to our lives, to blind ourselves to the final fate of all. But in the end, death gets us all. And for some, that ending arrives unexpectedly, much earlier than it should. I can't believe it. He's truly gone. I just visited his clinic last week and nothing was wrong. How could this happen? I'm like really feeling the sickly villager right now. Never before had I met someone as caring as him. He was so young too. May God bless his soul. It's true. He was the only one who actually took my illness seriously. Without him, I may as well be the one in that coffin. You know, I've been wondering about his death. Hush, his wife is coming this way. She actually... Keep your distance, I heard. Is that true? I knew something. The townspeople continue chattering behind me. I know they're discussing me, but their words grow distant as I look at the cadaver of my late husband. His face no longer shows any signs of life. His skin is pale as the moon above us. It seems cruel that the world has taken such a beloved man and left his worthless wife instead. How? Just how am I meant to go on? A tear slips down my cheek and onto the casket. Without him, I'm no one. I may as well vanish from existence. Oh dear. As the whispers around me dissipate, the funeral continues. Only 3 days have passed since the funeral. I have not left the house since then. It's not unusual. Rather, it was the norm even when my husband was still alive. After all, I had to take care of the chores around the house and prepare things for when he returned from work. Excuse me. There was barely any reason for me to go out. But now that he's no longer here, the silence in the room is more noticeable than ever. I still remember when I found his body, his hand slowly releasing its grasp from his shirt as he took his last breath. It was too late for me to do anything. Once more I was unhelpful, even when it mattered most. Everything afterwards is a blur, but his face is burned into my mind. Contorted in an expression I had never seen on him before, one of helplessness. I bring a hand to my chest. The air around me feels suffocating. It'd be good to get groceries. I'm running out of eggs already. Oh, hey, I think I'm running out of eggs already. A simple excuse to get out of the room. The afternoon sun is covered by a multitude of clouds, but that hasn't seemed to stop the townspeople from spending time outside. I can feel their eyes on me as soon as I exit the house. but I try to ignore them. Is that the doctor's wife? Oh my, it is her. It's rare to see her outside, wouldn't you agree? Absolutely, but don't stare at her too much. You would not believe the things I've heard. Oh, now I must know. A knot forms in my throat. No matter how much I try to block out their voices, they're too loud to ignore. I saw her at the funeral the other night. I'm sure I saw her hide a smile. Unbelievable. If I may, how did the doctor die again? Excuse me. They said heart failure, but you don't think she could have, you know. My body tenses upon hearing them, upon understanding what they mean. I bet she did. Frankly, I think she was just disappointed the war didn't take him away. She probably wanted to keep his money all to herself. Man, ugly, ugly, ugly talk. It's not true. Maybe she was getting tired of married life. From what I hear, it doesn't sound like she actually loved him at all. That's not true. I saw her husband looking very worried not too long ago. Do you think he expected this? Well, he was always going on about how he thought his wife was going to kill him. That's not true. Overwhelmed by the words that surround me, I hurry my pace, desiring nothing more than to get away. I run and run, the judgment in their voices still ringing in my ears. They think I killed him. I shouldn't have left the house, but it felt so painful to stay inside. Now, perhaps the whole world will be filled with suffering from me. I press on until I forget my destination, not paying attention to my surroundings anymore. Sound design in this game is so good. It's in. I hope you guys can hear it. It's in my headphones, and it's like left to right. You can hear footsteps, creaking, like wind, the grass like being blown. It's beautiful. I finally stop to catch my breath, my legs aching from the sudden exercise. These clothes are not made for running, nor are my shoes, nor is my body. Only once I regain my breath do I notice that the ground beneath my feet is no longer stone. I lift my head slightly and notice that in my panic, I've stumbled into a forest. Coughing fit. I don't remember there being any forest nearby. I turn around to try and retrace my steps back to where I came from, but I only see more trees behind me. This isn't good. How will I return home? Looking forward once more, I notice a clear path between the trees. I wonder if perhaps it could take me somewhere I can ask for directions. As I walk through the trees, a curious shape makes itself visible in the distance. A rather small building stands out at the end of the path. A house? Here, of all places? At the moment, approaching it seems like my best bet to find someone who can aid me. With light steps, as my legs still ache from before, I walk the path towards the house. It takes some time, but eventually I make it to the house. The building is unlike any other I've seen. Its walls and windows twist and turn in strange ways, never upright. And as I observe the place, I take notice of something unexpected. Quick aside here, like this is like a very German expressionist thing. I just kind of like point out, like I'm specifically thinking of Caligari, like the sets in a lot of German expressionist films, like they were structures that lean and twist in unusual angles, and sometimes like lights and shadows were painted onto the sets. So very cool. I like this. I like this reference, this touch. Okay, something unexpected. A group of people are having a lively chat just outside the house. There's an odd feeling inside me as I watch from close by. I have seen them before. They're people from town. What are they doing in a place like this? My eyes wander to a strange-looking man. Something about him is different from the rest. Oh, thank you so much for taking care of me, Doctor. I've been feeling so much better ever since I first visited you. Please, there's no need to thank me. I'm just glad I could be of help. If you feel any side effects from your new medicine, do let me know as soon as possible, all right? You're so humble, too. We are truly blessed to have you in this town. It is such a shame that you're already spoken for. I walk a bit closer to take a better look at them. Oh, first time Donnie Q. German expressionism? I thought it was just Rocco's Modern Life. That's an interesting comment. I suppose it could go either way. Rocco's Modern Life definitely, got that twisted buildings and sets. But, perhaps Rocco's Modern Life took more from German expressionism than we thought. And upon laying my eyes on the face of that strange individual, I finally recognize him. That's my husband. Ha ha! Oh, you're too kind. But don't let my wife hear that. But he died. How could he be here, standing in front of me? Although, that hair, it isn't anything he's had before. Could I be confusing him with someone else? But his face is identical. And they even mentioned he's a doctor. What's going on? If it isn't my darling wife. Wife? So it is him. But how can this be? Why are you making that face, love? Are you perhaps not happy to see me? Of course this is the greeting I get from you. I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up. Sorry. I don't understand. This man who is supposedly my husband leans in and lowers his voice. You've always got your head in the clouds. Who knows what kind of crazy thoughts you're having right now? The least you could do is not embarrass me in front of my patients. What's going on? Should I be sorry? No, I haven't done anything. You're dead, guy. I haven't done anything. But I haven't done anything to... Aha. Oh, I'm not looking for excuses. I will give you another chance this time since I'm feeling generous. He really is just like him, despite the changes in his appearance. Yet, he shouldn't be here or anywhere else for that matter. Is this real? My gaze wanders from my husband to the strange house behind him. Everything around me seems uncanny. I must be going crazy. That seems likely, but let's find out more. I have no idea what's happening here. Perhaps I'm going mad, but I need to find out more. I face my husband, who seems to be awaiting an answer from me. But as I open my mouth to speak, his figure, as well as those of the villagers, disappears into thin air. How? I realize then that it's useless to ask anything of the empty air. My eyes fall upon the door once more. Perhaps inside I can learn what's truly happening here. I gather enough courage to knock. The door opens unexpectedly before my knuckles can even strike it once. Hello? A voice, echoing through the walls of the house, flows out the door. Come in, come in. I've been waiting for you. Waiting? A part of me is terrified, wondering what I'm getting myself into. And yet, despite this, I don't hesitate to take a step forward and enter the house. It's dark, only for a moment, before the inside of the house reveals itself. To my surprise, the space before me is much larger than it seems from the outside. Doctor Who? The walls extend far beyond what I would have imagined could fit within them. I take another step deeper inside, even as anxiety builds within me. There's no one around. Just where did that voice come from? As if triggered by my thoughts, the lights go out. Maybe that's not quite the reading. My eyes adapt to the darkness. At least there's still some light from the windows. At last, the devil is dead. A sudden voice calls out, the same as before. but this time so much clearer. There's an odd familiarity in that voice, one that I can't quite place. A shadow is cast on the steps coming from me, and its form begins to change. The lights turn on again, blinding me for just a second. And where the shadow was before, there is now a woman. At last you're here. I've been waiting for you for so long, oh, so long. We have to celebrate. Huh? Celebrate? Wait, who are you? There's something strange about this woman, not only in the way she dresses and in her mannerisms, but also in her voice. It sounds just like my own, exactly the same that I hear. Me? Oh, love, you haven't figured it out yet. I'm you. Huh? Don't be ridiculous. I'm me. You can't be me. Right? Ma, you're quite slow. How rude to myself. The woman in front of me raises her veil. I'm your shadow. What? Your face? It's just like mine. You're finally understanding. I'm the truest, most honest version of you there is. And are those horns that I have? How? It's like looking into a mirror. But even if we look the same, her attitude is nothing like mine. You may not have been aware, but I've been around for a long time. However, I'm getting quite tired of having to explain myself. Let's move on to the celebration, shall we? What celebration? Did you not hear me the first time? The death of that devil, of course. Or in clearer terms, the death of our husband. What? Oh, I've waited so long for that man to croak. How can you say that? Huh? Why do you look so sad? This is what you wanted, isn't it? You should be happy. Didn't you feel joy seeing life abandon his body? Seeing him lose his strength and keel over? Seeing him die because of you? Stop! How dare you say such things? I loved him. He was my husband. You do know that those things don't have to correlate, right? And implying I killed him, I'd never have done that. Things weren't always perfect, but that's normal in any relationship. Losing him hurt the whole town. It hurt me. I'm nothing like you. Ha. Ha ha. You're quite pathetic, aren't you? Fine, we can leave the festivities for later. Since you're having such a hard time accepting this, perhaps I'll give you a little more time. Behind me, the door slams shut. Don't even try. That door is locked tight. Oh, this is getting worse and worse. Why? It's much too early for you to leave. Feel free to explore the house. I'm sure you'll find plenty of interesting things in the shadows. See you later. With those words, the shadow vanishes from view, leaving me alone in this strange house. There's little choice on what to do next. I could just wait here, but perhaps I should do as she says, though the thought of what I might find frightens me. I take a deep breath, then head down the first hallway I see. Entering the windowless hallway, I notice how it stretches towards a never-ending void. Not a good sign. I turn to go back the way I came, only to see that the archway I entered through has vanished. Please, no. Hello? Are you still there, Shadow? As I call and scream for help, my voice is muted, sucked in by the darkness and lost to all but me. No, this can't be my tomb. The harrowing creak of a door opening in the far distance draws my attention. As I gaze upon what lies before me, the end of the hallway feels far, impossibly far, but it's also the only respite available. I guess I have no choice. With each step I take, the end seems to draw further and further away, and the door never comes into view. Huh? What's that? Something catches my eye up ahead. I rush over to get a better look. A large frame photo hangs on the wall, staring down at me. Craning my neck, I see two more further along the wall. Looking back to the photo before me, I see myself and him together on our wedding day, smiling. I still remember our vows. I promise to be your honest and faithful, loving wife for the rest of my days. I vow to dedicate myself to your happiness and success. My love for you is forever. It's comforting, remembering this moment in time when we were both happy. The happiness didn't last long. Our first big argument was that night after the reception. Not wanting to wallow in my memories of him, I move on to the next hanging frame. Where did you go? There you are. I found you. The next pictured silhouette stares down at me. My old friend from life before marriage. We'd known each other since our youth. Hide and seek was our favorite game to play in the woods behind our homes. She was always supportive of the things I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, who I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. If you say he's the one for you, then he's the one for you. I hope you'll be happy together. I wish you my love and all the best in your future. I hope you've been well, my friend. It's been so long since we last spoke. Naisobu says, I have to go now, but it was fun to watch. And thank you again for playing our game. Thank you, Naisobu, for giving us permission. I'm having a blast. I'll hit you up after this is done and drop you a link to the video. Thanks again. Take it easy. I often wonder where she is now. My memory fails to remind me of how and why our friendship ended. We were so close for so long. The cries of a baby pull me to the last frame photo. The closer I get, the louder the cries become. It's haunting. I look at the final photo and see a reminder of the nursery my husband and I had prepared only a couple of years ago. It was still early. I had yet to conceive, but we were nonetheless excited to welcome a new addition into our lives. I wish for a world where you could have joined me. Wanting to distract myself from my thoughts, I continue onwards. Light breaks through the darkness as I make it to a slightly open door at the end of the hallway. Finally, a way out. My darling, you've made ample headway. I hear my husband's voice seeping through from the next room. How is he here? Careful. If you progress too quickly, you won't have a reason to see me anymore. Is he talking to me? Before we were wed, he used to speak to me like this. It was charming. At least I found it so. That was when I was his patient. That's how we met, but this doesn't make sense. The woman's laughter echoes into the hallway. Of course he was speaking to someone else. He hasn't spoken to me that way in years. Doctor, you're too funny. There's a reason I come here so often. Well, maybe I can find another ailment to rid you of. Oh, well, maybe I can find another ailment to rid you of. I draw closer to the door, peering through its crack. Sure enough, I see my husband in the next room, his home office. At least, the man who claimed to be him. He draws near to the only other person in the room and leans over her, closer than any patient would be comfortable with. And yet, it's clear she's not moving away anytime soon. It won't be hard. I'm positive you'll find a multitude on further examination. She smiles seductively at him, encouraging him to continue. Was he like this with all his patients? And I just happen to be the first? What's going on? The quick disappearance of the woman surprises me, but only momentarily. The fact that I see my husband standing before me, or a version of him, shakes me much more. Darling, couldn't you see that I was with a patient? I told you before, when I'm working, you are not to enter my office. Whether this man is real or not, he certainly sounds like my husband. And that tone, his manner of speech, it's as if he's here with me again. I shouldn't jump to conclusions, shouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? How could I not worry? He's right. This is part of his job. But how could I not worry upon finding him in a position as questionable as that? Who was that woman? I don't understand what's so unclear. She's a patient, nothing more. If you're worried because you were also my patient in the past, then you'll do well to remember that you're the one I married. I'm grateful he chose me. Exactly. I'm his wife. No, we don't mess with this. Once again, he's not wrong, but that is why these thoughts cross my mind. I'm his wife. Is this not how a wife would react? But now I question what sort of woman I've married. Look at the mess around the house. Have you done any cleaning at all today? Let's answer. I always do. I know how he'll respond, but I can't hold my tongue any longer. When my husband was alive, I always cleaned, every day. He just never cared enough to notice. You should spend less time eavesdropping and more time taking care of our home. I often wish there was a way to show him how much I did for us. I don't have time to oversee both my own work and that of my wife. Do you ever take into account how tired I am at the end of my day? It's a very common argument between married couples. I do. I always do. Well, if that's all, you may return to your daily tasks. You best get started considering how much you've been dilly-dallying. Even when I did finish all my work, he'd find more for me to do. He was never short of ways to keep me busy. Something continues to eat away at me. His words and their dismissive nature give me pause. That woman. I've seen her at our home before during his off hours. When he courted me, he was not married. But now, despite his marital status, she continues to return for his services, like a leech that's forever hungry for more. Thoughts race through my mind, churning as questions of my husband's faithlessness. Oh, faithfulness. That could be a Freudian slip on my part. Returned to haunt me. Why did he not refuse her advances? Was he looking to replace me? Were his assurances of love riddled with lies? I look back at the woman in the mirror. Does she not see me standing here? Who? Your patient. She has returned. I see her in the mirror, seeking your attention. Why has she returned so soon? She was just here. He sighs and looks at the mirror, then back at me. A hint of annoyance taints his face. You mustn't be well, my dear. I don't know what you see, but the only people in the reflection are the two of us. I feel like I'm being gaslit a little bit. No, he's wrong. She's right there. Perhaps you're imagining things again. You know how prone you are to seeing and hearing things that aren't there. The woman in the mirror turns to stare at me. A wide smile creeps across her face, as if she has successfully lured my husband away. But she's right there. Can you really not see her? Stop your nonsense this instant. He waves me away, but I can't stop myself from looking at the woman. Her chilling smile and soulless eyes bore through me. She couldn't have been the only one. He takes note that I have not yet to depart. Oh, he takes note that I have yet to depart. How many times do I have to tell you that she is not here? You must see her too. Tell me she's real. There is no one. I shut my eyes tight, shielding myself. Upon opening my eyes, I see that she has disappeared. Even when she leaves, I know she'll come back, time and time again, just to see you. Of course she will. I'm her doctor. Is that where it stops? Quit making up stories in your head. If there's nothing going on, then why does she come by so often, even when you retire for the evening? The more I speak my mind, the more I feel myself shake. I know I need to power through. A memory surges through me. I think I felt this way before, but no more than once. She can't have so much ailing her that she can simply visit whenever she pleases. Drop it, now! Woman, can you not see that I am devoted to you? Who do you think I work so hard for, to keep food on the table and a roof over our heads? There's no one else I'm married to. I recoil at his outburst. His face turns monstrous, almost otherworldly, like my shadow. I can't bear to look at him. Do you not see how much I want for... Do you not see how much I do for us? And here you are, accusing me of outrageous things while you laze around, doing absolutely nothing. Though this is far from the first time he's raised his voice, I never expected to experience this again, let alone so soon. I thought I'd buried these feelings when I buried him. I hear him breathing heavily, seething through his teeth. After a moment, he clears his throat. I know that this is him attempting to regain composure. My dear, look at me. Slowly, I open my eyes. His regular expression is returned, softer than before. Come, let me help ease your mind. I take a step towards him, but stop when he reaches for his medicine cabinet. Come here. This is for you and your well-being. As I look at the medication that lies in his palm, I hesitate. My gaze returns to the mirror. Do we trust our husband? I feel like I'm missing a big part of the picture, like what's going on. Like, this is a weird house with infinite hallways, women appearing in mirrors. He's supposed to be dead. I don't know where I am. I'm not going to take these pills. Doesn't seem like a good idea. I know my mind is not failing me. I know what I saw. I stand my ground, making it known that I do not plan on ingesting any more of his medicine. How do I know these drugs aren't what caused me to see those supposed hallucinations? He continues to stare at me sternly. Finally, he shrugs and places the pills back in their bottle. You don't know what others in town say about you and your episodes. Administering these pills is my way of protecting you, darling. Try to understand the position you've put me in. Do you not see how you make me behave? What? Oh my God. Oh, I feel like I've just dove headfirst into an abusive relationship. I'm only this way when we're together. No one else pushes me to my limit quite like you. Well, I could not say anything, but I want to say your behavior is your own responsibility, sir. You've changed. You weren't always like this. I'm only telling you these things because I love you. Why must you continue to question me? What I do, how I am? If you truly love me as much as I love you, you'd let me be. You'd trust me, just as I trust you to take care of our home in my absence. I love you as much as I trust you. We said that we love him earlier. Excuse me. I don't know. Why do we love him? I don't know what to choose here. They say that you can't choose who you love, but you can choose who you decide to be with. We can say that we love him. That's fine. But I do love you. Then show me that you do. As it stands, I just don't see your feelings reflected in your actions. He raises the back of his hand to my forehead, checking for a fever. Content with his assessment, he steps back to look at me, up and down, scrutinizing me for more signs of illness. Could there be something subconsciously clouding your judgment towards me? This gives me pause. I think maybe he's right. Subconsciously, he's dead, and that is something. My doubts must have manifested into how I've been seeing and ultimately treating him. Is that true? I should have done better while he was with me. I don't know. I feel like I made a wrong choice here. I should have saved before making it, but I am reckless, reckless, reckless. He stares at me long and hard, unwavering in his gaze. Finally, he sighs and returns to the papers on his desk. If you have nothing left to say, leave me to my work. He waves me away without so much as a glance. As I head towards the door, he speaks one last time. Be sure to close the door on your way out. I don't need you interrupting me any more than you already have. Finding myself back in the hallway, I head in the only available direction left for me. I don't want to linger on the memories of recent events. The hallway feels much shorter than the first time I came through. Perhaps it stems from knowing the unknown. The framed photos from when I first traversed this endless hallway come back into view. I approach the first one. The nursery, never used. The crying doesn't haunt me as much as it did before. He always said it was my fault that he had never had someone to carry on his legacy. I guess he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. Taking a step closer, I raise my hand to the photo. I'm glad I never had you. It saved you from having to experience this world. From having to experience him. Things always happen for a reason, and this was probably for the best. Best not to linger on what could have been. I continue to the next framed photo and look up at the woman before me. I'm sorry we've lost so much of our time together. I wish you were here with me now. I wish you were with me now to help pull me out of this place. You would have known what to do, what to say against him. I remember how strong-willed she was. Nothing could faze her. Not even my husband. Not that I think about it. Oh, now that I think about it, my husband never had anything good to say about her. She will only plague your thoughts with ideas unfit for a woman, let alone a wife. Her ideas were always grand, like traveling and exploring the world. Whoops. Wrong button. We go back. Back. I'm stuck in the menu. Oh, we can just save. Are these all auto saves? Oh, yes. We'll just do a save. Okay. I think part of this stems from using a Steam controller to navigate this. Okay. Have you not heard how the town speaks of her? Why do you think she continues to be unwed? She often said a man would only hold her back. You have to let her go at some point. Oh. You have to let her go at some point. She won't be with you forever. That's what I'm here for, to care for and protect you. He only protected me from seeing the world, and from the world seeing me. I chuckled to myself. Maybe when we grew apart, that's where she went, around the world, experiencing things I could only dream of. All on her own. The last words she spoke to me come trickling back. Come, my friend, we can travel the globe together, just the two of us, away from those who insist on dictating how we live our lives. I wish I had followed you. Turning my back on my friend yet again, I do my best to continue. It's what she would have done. I stop at the last frame before me. The unhappy memories of my wedding night enter my mind. It wasn't long before the reception had ended. Our family and friends were still present at the venue. He had pulled me aside after following me into the restroom. Seething through his clenched teeth, he accused me of embarrassing him in front of our loved ones. That I had called his family cheap, that I was too materialistic, that I was unappreciative of what they had given. I had only pointed out that his parents' gifted bottle of wine still had its price tag tacked in the bottom. That was the first time I learned how little he cared to listen to anything I had to say. He simply continued to scold me, as if he was in love with hearing his own voice. If only I knew what I know now. The moment I turn away from the framed photo, the arch of the hallway exit appears before me, as if the house knows I'm ready to move on. I hurry through the archway as quickly as possible, leaving those memories behind for now. But somehow, I know this isn't the end of it. Why did that woman bring me here? What could she possibly have to gain from doing this to me? All that pain, all the guilt and resentment thrown back in my face like it was nothing. Why can't I just be left in peace? You really don't get it yet? Suddenly she appears before me again with that odd smile that doesn't look right on her face. My shadow. I'm doing this for you, my dear, so you can finally stop burying your head in the sand. You're beginning to see the light, but it's not enough. Oh no, it's not nearly enough yet. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Forcing me to relive the things I've been through, the things he did to me. Tell me something. If you really are me, why do you want to watch me suffer? Because, darling, your strength is my strength. The truth will set you free and all that, but it can't very well do that if you don't face it. And what truth is that? She lets out a giggle and taps the side of her face conspiratorially before vanishing once again, her voice still echoing in my ears. You'll see. And just like that, I'm alone again. But something is wrong. A deep rumbling reverberates beneath my feet, a shiver running up my spine. The air grows heavy and oppressive as though the walls are closing in around me. I look around wildly, but there's no sign of the danger that my body is sure is near. What is... And then I see them. Countless shapes pressing themselves against the windows. Some are familiar, some I've never seen before, but all their eyes are on me, rounding on me as if I'm a caged animal. Their whispers permeate the glass, low at first, but soon rising to furiously hurled curses, words I know all too well. Sure, I saw her hide a smile. Probably wanted to keep his money all to herself. Doesn't sound like she actually loved him at all. And one voice that I hear above all the others. Thought his wife was going to kill him. Stop. I begin to draw into myself, but they won't relent. They don't even seem to notice me there anymore, so wrapped up are they in their hatred. And could she even think that of him? What does she think she is? Oh, sorry, who does she think she is? Nothing without him, and she knew it. Stop! I open my mouth, but no sound comes out. The voices rise to a fever pitch, enraged shouts and howling taunts so loud they threaten to shatter the glass that holds them. I can barely even hear their words anymore. Greedy, ungrateful, faithless, murderer. Stop! A dead silence falls after my scream. The shadows all swivel to look at me in unison as though they're one body, one mind. But I don't care. You have no idea what you're talking about. None of you, not a single one of you knows what our marriage was really like. And why would you? You only ever saw what you wanted to see. If you knew the first thing about me, you'd know I would never do this. My eyes scanned the writhing crowd, and suddenly there she is, the woman I saw with him. You had something with my husband, didn't you? She tilts her head at me with contempt. Yes, I did, and I'm not ashamed. He helped me through a hard time, but you just had to make it about you. Why shouldn't he and I comfort each other? You never gave him what he needed, even when he did everything for you. I did my best is not the appropriate answer here. He was never satisfied seems more like it's more accurate. It wouldn't have mattered even if I gave him everything I had. Nothing I did was ever good enough for him, and to say that I drove him to you is nothing but an excuse. Keep telling yourself that. Something about her seems to deflate, and she melts away into the masses. I shake my head and find another shape in the crowd. Her, my oldest friend. But why are you here? I never did anything to you. Didn't you? The moment you married that man, you suddenly didn't have time for anyone else. I thought we'd always be friends, but you abandoned me. She bows her head sadly. Why did you do that to me? What did I do wrong? You were a bad influence. No, I was in a bad relationship. I'm sorry. He always told me you were a bad influence, and for a long time, I believed him. He must have hated how close we were. I think in the end, he just wanted me to himself. There's still time, you know. We could find each other again someday. Her body sags, as though a great weight has been lifted off her shoulders, and then she's gone. I squeeze my eyes shut. I can't think of that, not yet, so I find one more shape in the mob. You were his patient, his friend. You did everything together, and you never once saw him betray me. If he ever hid anything from, the husband's friend, okay. If he ever hid anything from you, it's because you were always so paranoid. You couldn't so much as be alone with someone without you biting his head off. He was a good man. He only ever wanted to help people. Why are you so hell-bent on denying that? You never gave me a chance. You enabled him. Yeah, I think, this game is hitting close to home in a lot of ways. And one of the things that I see in my adult life as a man, as a cisgendered man, is that men don't talk to each other. And because they don't talk to each other, we may have friends that are terrible to their spouses, they're terrible to other people, but they're not terrible to us. And we let them be. We don't talk because we don't talk. So I think we do enable each other that way. Of course. Why didn't I see it before? He kept you around because you always covered for him, and your friendship meant you never questioned him either. I wonder, did you even know what he was really doing on all those nights when he used you as an excuse to not come home? You got me all wrong. I never meant to. But the shameful shifting of his stance tells me all I need to know. He withdraws into himself and then vanishes into the crowd. That's quite enough, darling. It's the most familiar voice to me in the world, yet my heart jumps all the same. I resist my instinct to look away and follow his voice up to the top of the staircase to meet his eyes. But the figure that stands before me is no bigger than my husband, but the malice that radiates from his body seems to stretch all the way to the ceiling. No, even higher than that, to the sky. No matter how hard I focus, I can't seem to see him in any detail. It's like I'm staring at a blind spot in my vision, a spot of nothingness. He peers at me from a face enshrouded in darkness, his head tilted at an odd angle, as though his neck is broken. It looks nothing like it, but somehow I know it is. This really is getting tiresome. Don't you think it's time to drop this silly little charade? He takes a menacing step down the stairs, and I'm suddenly aware that I'm completely alone with him. But I refuse to relent. Not now. It's all you know how to do, isn't it? Treat my pain like an inconvenience every time I get too uppity. Shut me down over and over again until I don't see the point in getting up anymore. Well, call it whatever you want. This isn't a game, and I'm not playing. What a great line for a game. He draws in a breath, deep and shuddering like a death rattle, and it takes me a moment to realize that he's laughing. Such fire. Where was this backbone when we were married? Perhaps if you hadn't been so useless, I wouldn't have had to... No, you don't get to turn this around on me anymore. You never wanted a wife, you wanted a doll. A mindless little nothing, always at your beck and call, who never got angry or talked back, who never once questioned anything you did because the truth was so obvious that one look was all it took. One look to see that you were the pathetic one. His form bristles with a palpable anger, but I can't stop. The words keep flooding out of me, a torrent finally breaking through a dam. All your hatred, your sadness, your apathy, you are too much of a coward to face any of it. So instead you put it all on me. So desperate were you to feel like a man that you endlessly beat down on someone who you knew would never fight back. And you were perfectly willing to let the whole town think that I was the problem too, that I would even kill you. Well, congratulations. You were so convincing that it took you dying for me to see that you were never anything more than a broken, empty... I don't see him move, but in the blink of an eye, he's gone from the stairs to inches away from my face. Up close, his head is an ugly, writhing mass of shadows. His eyes a furious blaze. How dare you! I feel the air go out of my lungs. His very presence is so cold, so suffocating that being this close to him is like plunging into freezing water. I have lived horrors that you can't even begin to imagine. I was a hero. I earned my place in heaven 1,000 times over. And all I asked for in return was peace and quiet, a loving wife, a family. But you couldn't even give me that. Instead, you sat there day after day, moaning about how unfair it all was. Are you an idiot? I didn't have to give you the world. I chose to, and I can take it all away just as easily. The dark tendrils close around me and squeeze. Spots swim in my vision as I begin to fade. This is it. I can't even scream. I can only gasp for air that doesn't come. And then, somewhere in the quietest part of my mind, I hear her. Is that it? Come on, don't give up on me now. You feel it too, don't you? Why is he so desperate? He's afraid of you, of me, of us. Use it. Something in me flares to life and my hands shoot out of its own accord. And my hand shoots out of its own accord to seize him by the jaw, forcing him to look at me. Wind whips all around me, sending the tendrils shrinking back. For a moment, I see it in his eyes. Fear. I don't think so. He struggles against the force holding him in place, but it's no use. He spits out another hoarse laugh, teeth gnashing in fury. You really think you've won? It doesn't matter what happens here. You're nothing without me. You always will be. Nothing but my poor, wretched widow, who could never... My name is Hilda! Hey, we have a name. The wind rises to a fever pitch, threatening to engulf him entirely. But I don't let it yet. Not yet. Instead, I hold my shadow at bay as I pull him close. And you will never speak my name again. Because you're dead, and I'm not. Now go to hell where you belong. I plunge my other hand into his chest, where his heart should be, and twist. He gives a final enraged howl before the wind cuts him to ribbons. And where there was once a cloud of impenetrable darkness, there's just me. And her. Well, that was exciting. I can only give her a tired laugh in response. I know I have nothing to fear from her now. Somehow, it feels silly that I ever did. not the celebration you were expecting? No, it was even better. So, what's next for us? I'm going to go home, take a bath, and get the best sleep I've had in years. And then, we're going to live. Sounds like a plan. She vanishes, her echoing laugh reverberating in my own chest. I take a moment to breathe, slowly in, slowly out, before turning to leave. Golden sunlight streams in through the door that creaks open at my approach. I stop at the threshold, taking one last look at this strange house in the woods before stepping out into the fresh air. There's so much that went unsaid, so many words scarred over that I know won't heal overnight. But I have all the time in the world for that. For now, it's time to go home. The end. Yay! Well, that was intense. Incredible. A lot to unpack with that one. Well, a lot to unpack with both of these games, actually. I want to thank everybody that stopped by tonight. Thank you, Donnie Q, for stopping by and chatting us up a bit. Thank you to the developers that popped in the chat. Nayasobu, Ingfing. Really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you to my regular community who I know is there, and appreciate you guys' support as always. So once again, just to remind, the Spooktober VN Jam is where these games come from. They were made in a month, and they are currently, I think, the contest is very close to ending. I believe it ends the end of this week. So it would be a great help to the developers if you enjoyed watching the game, maybe to download it, play it, rate it. It will help them a lot for their success in the jam. I am going to try and stream 2 more games in the next 2 days from the Spooktober jams. Hopefully I will be feeling much better tomorrow, and my voice will not be as hoarse. We'll keep our slow trod towards being 100%. Thanks again, everybody. I will see you on the next one. Have a good night.